Is Travis Scott's latest sneaker worth all the hype? In today's video, we find out. This is the Travis Scott CJ1 T-Rexx in black and dark mocha. Interestingly enough, this shoe seems to have gone through a name change. So the CJ1 T-Rexx used to be referred to as the Jumpman Jacks. In fact, the two first colorways of the shoe to release were called Jumpman Jacks. And because of that, searching for this shoe is more difficult than I think it should be, especially when you're looking for it on resale sites, because I usually search Jumpman Jack, and on resale sites that's what comes up. But now if someone wants a shoe, they're gonna have to search CJ1 T-Rexx and hope that the shoe comes up, which isn't that serious of a thing, but like it definitely sucks for SEO. Speaking of which, if you do want to grab the CJ1 T-Rexx or the Jumpman Jack Dark Mocha, I've made sure to link it through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen, so you don't have to search for it yourself. You can just click it right there and you're taken right to the page. If you were like me and you missed out on both releases of this shoe, both at ComplexCon and on the sneakers app, you are gonna have to pay resale. The good news is though, resale isn't terrible. Now the retail price of this shoe is pretty high at $200, but the resale price is only around $350, which is actually not crazy for a pair of Travis Scotts. Now the price will probably fluctuate, meaning it's gonna go up or down over the next couple months. I don't know which direction it's gonna go. I would assume down, but it could go up. I have no idea. So if you want a pair of these, now might be the time if you're willing to pay $350 for them. Again, links through the YouTube shopping tab right there. Now obviously pricing does vary depending on which size you're going for. A size 9 like this goes for around $350 to $370. A size 12 is closer to like $400 or $420. So keep that in mind. It's not all even across the board when it comes to sizing. So expect to pay between $350 and $450 for a pair of these shoes. But even though this release has already happened, I do want to talk about the release procedure for this shoe because I thought it was pretty interesting. So there was two ways to get this shoe at ComplexCon, the first place that it dropped. One was a sneaker stash, which took place literally across the street from the Las Vegas Convention Center, where you could enter, I think, on the app or something like that, and you had a chance to go in and buy the shoes. My friend Kais actually had a chance to go into the event and have his pair signed by Travis Scott, which is wild. I unfortunately was still on an airplane, so I missed out on the entire thing. But that was one way you could get the shoes. The other way was to buy a VIP Travis Scott ticket to ComplexCon, and you actually got not only a room and tickets to the event, but also a free pair of Travis Scotts. Now the pair that you got was technically a mystery, and it varied between the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Low Velvet Browns that are releasing in December, the Field Generals in a couple different colorways, and these guys. I think this pair was the pair that people were getting most commonly based on pictures that I'm seeing on social media, but I don't know that for a fact. And then of course yesterday on November 26th, 2024, the shoe released on the sneakers app for $200, and it sold out completely. I tried to get a pair, but I didn't have a shot. But first, before we get into the sneaker itself, let's take a look at the box because the packaging for this shoe is actually pretty solid. So this pair of Jumpman Jacks, or now CJ1 T-Rexxes, comes in this really thick cardboard brown box. You've got Jumpman written on the side and then Jack written on the other side. And then interestingly enough, it still says Jumpman Jack on the size tag. So I guess the name change hasn't taken full effect yet. You've got the Travis Scott Brain Blast going on the top. I'm not sure exactly what to call that. You've got the Jumpman logo cut out through the box on one side, and then, like I already mentioned, the size tag right there. Now the size that I grabbed was a size 9, which is my true size. We'll talk about sizing in a couple minutes. And the official colorway of this Jumpman Jack TR, as it says on the box, is dark mocha black sail. Now inside the box, the shoes are actually wrapped in this really nice, pretty heavyweight canvas bag. You've got the Travis Scott logo there on one side embroidered in black and the Jumpman logo embroidered on the other side. And this canvas bag is actually decent. It's got drawstrings. It's not like one of those throwaway dust bags you get with other sneaker releases. So it's a nice touch. It's a nice addition. And I mean, I'm probably never gonna use it for anything, but it's nice to have. Additionally, you get 3 sets of laces. You get a white set, a black and reflective set, and then a brown set. I think the shoes come pre-laced with black laces, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. I don't think I would switch out these laces. If I was to though, it might be for the black reflective, because that's kind of cool. Kind of dig that. But you do have options if you want to switch things up. But getting back into the shoes themselves, these Travis Scotts have a lot of things going on which I like and some which I don't like. But let's start things off talking about the materials that make up this shoe. So around the toe of the shoe, you've got this really nice dark brown mocha nubuck material. Feels very nice to the touch, very, very buttery, and it actually is used on most of the overlays around the entire sneaker. It's also pretty similar to what you get on the Mocha Travis Scotts, both the highs and the lows. Again, it's a nice material, I don't mind it. In the center of the toe, you've got this black canvas material, which is sort of a washed black. It's not like a true deep black, and I actually like how sort of utilitarian it feels. Moving up on the shoe, you've got more of that dark mocha material extending up onto the eye stays, and of course you've got your strap, which is sort of the defining feature of this shoe. Now this strap is interesting. I don't think it really functionally does much. At least I've never had to unstrap it in order to get the shoes on. I'm gonna unstrap it for the video though. So on the outside of the strap, on the lateral side, you do have, I guess, a Travis Scott logo. Not sure exactly what it means, but I read somewhere that it is a Travis Scott logo in some way, shape, or form. It's embroidered in this really nice thick 3D embroidery. And then undoing the strap, you've got Velcro, pretty standard, just a tongue underneath, probably inspired by the Yeezys would be my guess. And that's totally fair because the Nike Air Yeezys are some of the best shoes ever made, in my opinion. Maybe I'm a hype beast, but I came up when those shoes were like the holy grail, and that's always a shoe that I think people aspire to grab and to have. And it wouldn't surprise me if Travis Scott was lightly inspired by that shoe. Speaking of lightly inspired, the Travis Scott Jumpman Jack or the CJ1 T-Rexx seems to be inspired by a pair of Dunks. To be fair though, I think that's the only way they could have really gone with this design to keep the hype. Because if you look at some of the other Travis Scott releases that have happened over the last couple years, the only ones that really maintain their hype are the Air Jordan 1s. So to create a shoe that has an Air Jordan 1 vibe to it was probably the right move. Now, is it the most unique, most creative design out there in the world? Not really, but I do think it was the right way to go. And I think moving into the future with the second version of this shoe, they can change things up more and people will still be receptive to it. So I think that's probably what they're gonna do. I think they really did have to start from the Air Jordan 1 and kind of go from there. So I'm not mad at this design choice at all. Underneath the strap, you've got your flat black laces, which I mentioned earlier. Of course, you've got 3 other sets of laces if you want to switch things out. And then beneath that, you've got more canvas on the tongue. And then at the top of the tongue, you've got this really interesting sort of black cracked leather and your embroidered Jumpman also in black. Moving inside the shoe, you've got this pretty soft fabric sock liner in black. The insole of the sneaker, let me pull it out really quick, comes in brown with some sort of like black pattern, which you can't really see very well. Of course, you got the Jumpman on the heel in white with the Jumpman Jack like brain blast going on. Now this insole is very thick compared to other Jordan insoles. It's also really nicely padded. It's like a nice foam. And from what I remember, in this shoe, you're basically just sitting right on the outsole. Like there's not really much going on. Yeah, there's not really much going on in terms of cushioning underfoot. So the only cushioning you're really getting is the insole. So I'm glad that they added a thicker insole. Comfort-wise, it's fine. It feels like a pair of Dunks. It's nothing special. It feels very minimal. I don't hate the way it feels, but I will say after wearing the shoe for more than a short period of time, it can start to hurt. But that's true for Jordan 1s or Dunks. To be fair though, I do think Jordan 1s and Dunks are slightly more comfortable than this. Jordan 1s have an air unit in the midsole, Dunks don't. So there's that. This doesn't have an air unit, so I guess this feels closer to a pair of Dunks than a pair of Jordan 1s, and it's fine. It's fine underfoot. I would probably pair this with a pair of APTHCRY socks because APTHCRY socks are super comfortable and super breathable, and we're just dropping our holiday collection this Friday on Black Friday. If you guys want to check it out, dropping on our website at APTHCRY.com. It comes in 4 different festive colorways that all match your sneakers in different ways, and we're also dropping our 10 sock mystery bag, which comes with 10 pairs of socks for $100, which if you think about it, the retail price of our socks is $15, so you get each one of these socks for basically $10, saving $50 total. So 10 pairs of socks for $100, great deal. Plus there's a chance that you could get a golden ticket in your mystery box, and each golden ticket has a different prize. You've got gift cards to APTHCRY, you've got PlayStations, Xboxes, sneakers, a lot of crazy stuff that you can win. So check all that stuff out. It's linked both in the description below and through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. And actually, while you're at it, check out the latest core badge in the top of the description below where you can win a pair of black cement 3s. Getting back to the sneaker, let's talk about the sizing and the fit of this shoe. The Travis Scott CJ1 T-Rexx does fit pretty much true to size. I think Jordan sneakers and Nike sneakers in general all fit pretty much true to size. This definitely fits like all the other Jumpman Jacks as you would expect, but in my opinion, I would go true to size in this shoe. That's what I recommend, unless you have very wide feet, in which case go up half a size, or if you have wider feet and you just want more space than the sides of your foot, then maybe go up half a size. But generally, true to size, I think you're good to go. Again, comfort-wise, it's fine. It feels like a dunk. It's nothing special. Continuing back in the sneaker, you've got more of that washed black canvas on the midfoot. On top of that, you've got a cracked leather Nike swoosh in black. On the lateral side, obviously, it's a backwards Nike swoosh. On the medial side, it's a smaller, regular facing Nike swoosh. One thing I might have changed about this shoe personally was maybe making the Nike swoosh a little bit bigger. I'm sure they tried a bunch of different sizes and they thought this was the best one, and maybe it is. But in my head, I feel like a little bit bigger would be a bit cooler. Maybe if it kind of like, I don't know, lined up with the midsole or connected to the midsole in some way. I don't know. But hey, just my 2 cents. Continuing around to the back of the shoe, you've got more of that dark Mocha nubuck material, and embroidered into the heel of each shoe, you've got the Travis Scott face embroidered in black. And then moving down on the shoe, you've got this black midsole, outsole tooling, which again, like I said, there's not much going on in terms of comfort there. It's more aesthetics. I do like that this Nike midsole, outsole tooling seems to be inspired by Nike Air Yeezys / the Nike Air Tech Challenge. If that is the inspiration, I think that's really cool. If it's not, it just seems like it's very similar to those midsoles and outsoles, at least the way that the outsole wraps up onto the midsole. And then finally, moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you get to one of the standout features on the shoe, at least according to the sneakers app, the Wear Away Jack logo. I don't know how it's a feature. A feature in my head makes it better. In this situation, you're just leaving paint on the sidewalk. In my head, they just wanted to go for this cool like Jack spray painted look, and rather than co-molding the outsole rubber, which would have been way more expensive because you would have needed 2 molds or some sort of extra piece in the mold, they decided to just spray it on, which is fine, but it does obviously wear off very quickly the more that you wear this shoe, and I just think it's kind of corny that they called it a feature. It's not a feature. Like, I'm fine with it being there, just don't call it a feature. It's so stupid. They leaned into it, that's fine. It's just a marketing team being a marketing team, and that's totally cool, but it's not a feature. But let's talk about this colorway relative to the other Travis Scott Jumpman Jack colorways, or I guess now CJ1 T-Rexx colorways, or maybe that's just the name of this colorway, I don't know. So from what I can tell, this colorway is the most widely available colorway. This is a colorway that I think a lot of people have been able to get. The other colorways, like the initial Mocha colorway or that black and red colorway, they were very, very difficult to get, only dropping in very limited quantities on like Travis Scott's site or in very limited quantities on the sneakers app. Very, very hard to find. This seems like the first wider release Travis Scott Jumpman Jack, and it's interesting that they chose probably the most laid back colorway for that wider release. Maybe they're trying to maintain the hype on the more Travis-y colorways. Like, whenever I think of Travis Scott, I think of a base color of a shoe, and then like a contrasting color on the overlay, and then a third color on the Nike swoosh. So you get 3 different details or colors going on. I don't know where my Travis Scotts are. They're somewhere in this room. But usually it's an earth tone sneaker with a lot of contrast, or some contrast. With this shoe, it's earth tone, yes, but it's very laid back. There's not a lot of contrast. You can't really tell what's going on with the Nike swoosh from a distance. And I think that is a bit of a downside in my opinion, at least the way that I think of Travis Scott's. Maybe that's just me. But I do think if this was as limited as the other pairs, it would be the least hype of those pairs. Obviously in this case, because the shoe is less limited than those pairs, it will also be less hyped. So I think there's 2 reasons why the shoe won't be as popular as the other 2. My personal opinion, as far as design goes, I think it's fine. I think it's clean. I don't know if I would pay as much as I paid for this shoe if I was just wearing it casually or if I was just buying it not to make content on it. I'll be real. I think I'd probably just buy it for retail and then be good. In fact, I'm actually selling this pair and whatnot. If you guys want to grab this pair for yourself, links in the description below. That said, I do generally like the Jumpman Jack silhouette. My personal favorite is the first colorway. This one probably being my least favorite so far. Apparently there's like a black, white, and green colorway dropping soon, which I'm on the fence about. So when it comes to the Jumpman Jacks, this is definitely ranked number 3 for me. But interestingly enough, I like this shoe better than the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Velvet Browns, mainly because there's a lot more contrast going on and there's more interest on the upper of the shoe. Generally, I like Air Jordan 1s better than Jumpman Jacks, but in this case, I would pick this one over that shoe. So those are my general thoughts on this colorway. I don't know if you cared, but if you made it this far in the video, let me know your thoughts on this shoe in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.